I remember when Grandma and Grandpa 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, they were babysitting us when my parents were out of town. And Grandma had talked to me before. I think we'd mentioned one time about making a quilt sometime. I was like, yeah, I would love that. And she came and brought all the stuff. She came up to me with a bag full of fabric, and she said, I found this at, I don't know where she found it, but she's like, I found this fabric and it made me think of you. It was just this bright pink fabric. And she set up all the tools to make a quilt with me. And we like tie little knots every couple inches on the quilt together. She was so patient while doing it, and like babysitting all my siblings at the same time and still taking the time for us individually. And she made this quilt with me. And I still have it. And it was just a sweet memory of her taking the time to be with me specifically, even though I know she was busy and overwhelmed. So I miss that, and definitely her hugs were the best. So love you, Grandma. Miss you.
One of the memories I had with Grandma was when we all went to Hawaii, and her and Grandpa, they had these little matching outfits. That she had this long, I think it was red dress that had like little flowers on it, and then Grandpa had a matching shirt with it, and that was the cutest thing to see them both like walking around together in those. And even just going to Hawaii with them on that trip, that was so fun to be able to spend time with them. Memory I had was so she'd bring us gifts, and we got these little like clowns, like little stuffed clowns kind of, but they were like filled with sand or something, and they had like the poofiest hair, and it was just like these silly little clowns, and I loved them so much. And I couldn't find mine, so I've been trying to find everywhere where you can find them, but they're like from the 80s, and so it's like impossible to find them everywhere, but they were the cutest little things. Like we had pink ones, blue ones, and a red one, I think. But they were just like that big, and just the cutest little toys that you could play with.
I remember when I was really little being up at the house in Oxford, and I always loved wind chimes and the different sounds they would make, and Grandma really liked them too and had them on display by the staircase, and I remember her sitting down with me and telling me about all of her different wind chimes. I was too little to remember what she actually told me, but I really appreciated her talking to me about them, and telling me all the different things and having them there. I remember when I graduated high school, Grandma had given me gifts all grown up, but when I graduated, I got a big one to celebrate from her, and it was a quilt she had made for me, as well as a little kit with a bunch of different like foot scrubs and other stuff like lotions and things like that, that she was giving to me, and I really appreciated the gift from her and all the gifts, because gifts are something that are a very big thing for me, and so having Grandma giving me things all the time was very nice.
So one of the memories that I can remember, probably one of my oldest memories, is when Grandma showed me like how to use this little mechanical card shuffler that they had in their old Idaho house. And I just remember when I learned how to use it, I never parted with it, or at least until we left the house. I was just with it, looking at it, and I just loved the fact that even while she was talking to the adults, she found it in her, well, she just felt like showing me how to use it. And yeah.
I remember going to her house and playing games, and I helped her win tensies in second place. I just kept pointing at the numbers that she needed to get. And another memory I liked was when we were at a family reunion, and she gave me a big teddy bear, and yeah.
My memories with Grandma was playing Number Ninja, and so basically you have everybody assign a number, and then you yell at a number, and everybody has to go into a different seat, and it was just really fun to play, and multiple people got sat on, which was really funny to watch. Yeah, it was really fun to play games with Grandma, and so I'm gonna miss it.
So when I picked up the guitar and started playing, one of the songs that I learned first was Runaway Train by Soul Asylum. And my mom loved it so much she'd have me play it anytime I was around. And then whenever Rob was around, she'd have us both do it together, and it was just one of her favorites that we did. And so I wanted to make sure that I did this for you one last time, Mom. I called you up in the middle of bought a ticket for a runaway train. Like a madman, I was laughing at the rain. Little out of touch, a little insane. Just easier than dealing with the pain. Runaway train, never coming back. Runaway train, it's tearing up the track. Runaway train, it's burning in my veins. It runs away, but it always seems the same. Oh, everything is cut and dry, day and night, earth and sky. But somehow I just could not see it. Runaway train, never coming back. Runaway on a one-way track. Seems like I should be getting somewhere. Somehow I'm neither here nor there. Love you, Mom.
Okay, Addie, what are some of your favorite memories of Grandma?
I think my absolute favorite memory of Grandma was for New Year's. I painted her nails purple and blue sparkly, and then I always enjoyed going over to her house for after Christmas and just hanging out with her and spending time with her. And one year we did Bottle Rockets, and that was fun. So yeah, I'm gonna miss Grandma, but she'll always be in our heart.
Okay, Addie, what are some of your favorite memories of Grandma?
I think my absolute favorite memory of Grandma was for New Year's. I painted her nails purple and blue sparkly, and then I always enjoyed going over to her house for after Christmas and just hanging out with her and spending time with her. And one year we did Bottle Rockets, and that was fun. So yeah, I'm gonna miss Grandma, but she'll always be in our heart.
All right, Paisley, what are some of your favorite memories of Grandma?
Two of my favorite memories of Grandma is, the first one is when we used to ask her to say wolf, and she would say wolf instead of wolf. And then my second favorite memory with Grandma is at our family reunion in Arizona. She roasted s'mores with me and sat by the fire with me. I miss you, Grandma, and I love you.
What I remember most about my grandma is how kind and loving she always has been. No matter who I am, it didn't matter how many piercings or how many tattoos, and she loved me anyway. It didn't matter. My most recent and favorite memory probably of her is we went swimming, and She saw some of my tattoos, and instead of judging or looking down on me for having tattoos, she started asking about them, and I just remember being surprised. I don't know why, because she always was so loving, but she told me they were beautiful and asked questions and asked the meaning behind them, and for some reason that stuck with me so much because it just showed how much she cares and just didn't judge and loved me for me. Didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. I am who I am, and she knew that, and she loved me anyway.
So one of the things that Mom and I used to do is we would alternate sending pizzas to each other. So I'd call up Pizza Hut down here and have a pizza delivered, etc. Mom would call up there and have a pizza delivered at my house, and it was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that, but we used that nefariously the last time that Corey and I drove down here. I called up and asked if they were going to be home so that I could have a pizza delivered, and they said they were, and we had to drive down to Utah for one of Corey's friends was getting married, and so we decided, since Mom and Dad are going to be home because they told us they were, we would drive down and surprise them. And it was so awesome seeing the looks on their faces when they answered the door. Just really enjoyed that. They enjoyed the surprise visit. It was awesome.
But my wife, Laurene, was an angel. From the first time that I saw her, it took me a little while. I was shy, and so I didn't talk to her a lot the first date we went on. Had to be alone, the two of us, before I could do that. And we started getting to know each other and that sort of thing. But she didn't really like a lot of surprise, but occasionally she did. We moved to Clifton, and we were in this little ratty house, and all of a sudden a piano showed up on the doorstep, and the workman brought it in and set it there, and I never said a word. I was thinking about getting one, but I knew that she played the piano. She'd taken lessons while she was in school, and her dad played, and she had good memories of those things. And she loved having a piano. So that was one good surprise. Some of the other surprises were different. I was a guy from the city and wanted to do country things. Always wanted to be a farmer kind of a guy. And she was a city girl and wanted to stay that way. But we moved to Clifton, and while we were there, it came time for my farmer part to show up, and so we raised some sheep. Well, she was okay with that as long as the sheep stayed inside our fences, but they had minds of their own as well, and so they didn't want to do that. But anyway, we kept them through the winter, and as spring came, I went down and bought this Alice Chalmers tractor, and I was going to tell Mom about it after I got home, but it beat me home, and she wasn't real happy with that. She didn't stamp her foot or anything like that, but maybe she was just more disappointed in me for not talking to her about it first. I didn't learn though. So as our sheep got bigger, we needed, I don't know if you know much about sheep, but they like the hay, but they don't like the straw part of it. And if you chop that up, they will eat it all. And so my next thing was a chopper to put on that tractor to chop the hay so that those animals could eat that and not waste it. Another surprise, she didn't like that. But I still hadn't learned to do that. But she was just a real lady about her life and about her family and about me.
One of my favorite memories of Grandma is back in 2015, I went and I stayed with her and Grandpa for a week, and you know, there was a lot to do. We were working a lot of the week, but one of my favorite things that I did that week was we made this quilt. It was the first quilt that I had ever made, and she helped me a lot with it. She probably did most of the work. It was just so much fun. We just you know, pumped it out really quick within like a day or two, and I was down there, and it was just so much fun, and it's still one of my favorite blankets, and it, you know, just means that much more to me now.
I have to say I have put off doing this because my heart has been so tender, and there's so much good that Mom brought to all of our lives that I don't have the words right now. But one thing I want to say is I was her daughter from day one. She treated me as if I was hers. From even the moments I met her, I remember coming in to the house in Oxford and the chiming on the door, and walked in, and Rob introduced me to them, and she gave me the biggest hug, and I could feel her love. And from that moment, that was the start of a really special relationship, and she always treated me as if I was just one of her own. And even before we were married, or even when Robert was on his mission, I was treated as if I was part of the family. And she would call me or write me cards or letters, and invite me to your family things. I do admit it felt awkward sometimes because I didn't know what everybody else felt. But I felt very loved. I never doubted her love, and I felt it from the beginning, and I'm so grateful for that. I felt like that I won the lottery when it came to mother-in-laws. You hear stories of not so good ones, and I truly feel like I got the best, and I look up to her so much. There is so much about her that I admire, and I wish I was saying this to her face. Instead of waiting. But there's so much about her that I want to be like, and I will always cherish the times we did have. And the many good things she taught me, and most of all, how she made me feel so loved. And when we were first married, she wrote me a poem about how we were sisters in heaven before we came, and I felt that, and I'm excited to be reunited with her. In that, I miss you dearly, Mom. And I'm so grateful for what I have gained from knowing you and being part of your family. I remember Mom working for Trails West and sewing and sewing and sewing, and the little patches and design shoots on the sweatshirts and t-shirts, and her spending hours working on those down in the basement. And I also remember going to the store she worked at in Pocatello, the Trails West store, and how it had lots of fleece fabric, and then it had dolls. I believe it had dolls, and it had dresses, cute little dresses that I would pick out for my little girls. And I remember picking out the fleece there, and she made blankets for the two oldest girls, for Michaela and Ariana, or at least I think she made it for Michaela from the fleece that she got there, and then I got fleece from there to make Ari's blankets, and they were my kids' favorite blankets. And so I remember doing that. I remember the bedtime stories she wrote for our kids of ancestors, and how she knew the stories and put them together, and had some illustrations in there, or pictures. I think maybe it was pictures of, and then a family tree in part of the book, and that she had spent time to make those books. And I always thought, what a neat legacy that she's leaving for us all and for her grandkids. I remember all the presents she was always good at giving. Always. She was good at making gifts, little gifts for all of her family. And then she'd have us open them on every Monday in December for family home evening. And we'd always just have little presents, and my kids remember that too. They remember the gifts, the little gifts that she would give, and the thoughtfulness of her. She's always good at remembering birthdays and doing Christmas, and I admire that. Mom loved Christmas. She loved decorating for it. Everywhere had something decorated at Christmas time. The living room, there was the villages and the Christmas tree and the tinsel and the colored lights and the Christmas sweaters, everything. She got into it and made it really fun. I remember spending the holidays there, especially when we were young, married, spending time, and that was just some of our favorite memories at that time, was spending time in the home at the holidays, celebrating so much. I remember being in awe at all that she could do and all that she would do. She was always serving, always busy, always putting something together, making food. She's organized, have the presents ready, and just always doing. And I look up to that so much. I don't have half of her energy, I don't think. and her organizing skills. And I remember asking her one day, how do you know how to make so much food? When we'd have family parties, because I was just learning how to feed people. And she just, I think she kind of just laughed, and it was just something that she obviously had to do for many years with such a big family. But I loved that. I loved that about her, that she was just a doer. And I hope I can be a doer in doing good things that serve people just like she did.
Today I was driving and I saw wildflowers off the side of the road, just these really pretty little yellow wildflowers. And it reminded me of a time that we were driving with Mom and Dad, and Mom made Dad pull off the side of the road so that she could go out into the field and pick a bunch of flowers. And there was so much joy there and so much happiness with just that little spark of color. Several years ago, I had a brain injury and I couldn't care for my kids. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. And Mom came up and stayed with us, and she took care of my children, and she drove me to physical therapy, and she cooked and she cleaned, and by the time she left, I had so many little Ziploc baggies of frozen zucchini so that I could make zucchini bread whenever I wanted. And she just prepped so many things to make sure that everything would be okay by the time she left. And it meant the world. My favorite memories of Mom are just the time that we spent together. Whether it was yard selling or sitting around playing card games or just sitting in her living room just talking. It didn't matter what you were doing with Mom. If she was there with you, she was there with you. Nobody else existed. You were her sole focus. And she just always made whoever was with her know that they were the most important person to her. I think we were all her favorites.
I'm kind of a latecomer to this party, but I did get a chance to know Mom. I got a chance to see her with a smile on her face, constantly had a smile on her face. Whether we were discussing the scriptures, the gospel, playing games, hand and foot, she had a smile on her face and a love for somebody who didn't know her very well when I first got here. And having a chance to spend a couple of years with her and being kind of her neighbor and being a part of her life changed my life. And I'm grateful to have gotten to know her. And I love her.
Keegan, what's something that you're going to miss about Grandma?
That she used to give me hugs, and that she used to let me play with her toys, and that she gave me hugs, and I will miss you, and I love you.
All right, Emery, what was something that you loved about Grandma?
That she let me play with the farm animals with Eden, and that me and her did the mix smells and plug it in, and that me and her hanged out a lot
And snuggled.
And we painted nails
meals together and played games together.
Do you remember when we got the bumblebee birthday cake?
And got the bumblebee birthday cake. Bye,
And whose initials did we put on the cake? Do you remember?
Grandma.
You put Grandma and you put a G and
And
an E because we celebrated yours and Grandma's birthdays together.
And I love you, Grandma. Bye.